just had a Philly cheesesteak. Was that a mistake? Has yet to be seen. Oh, it's me. What's up, Michael? These are 10 common mistakes that new players make. As a disclaimer, these are in no particular order. It's just a series of observations that I've made over the years as I go through people's accounts on review streams. Number 10 is building strictly according to type. While the type of a monster can be a signpost for how you want to build it, or it could even be indicative of what stat their skills scale with, sometimes it's just totally misleading. The best thing that you can do is understand what your monsters are trying to do and then build them in a way that supports that. A key example of this would be Lauren the Light Cowgirl, who is an attack type, but at her core, she just wants to be built fast and tanky so she can keep landing defense breaks and attack bar reductions for your team. Then there are Spectra and Veramos, who are both support monsters, but we build them on crit damage, though Veramos is more a sign of the changing times. And speaking of the Dark Ifrit, number 9 is not building Veramos, just in general. Veros is one of the most helpful units for new players. He offers us 33% HP lead, he has an auto cleanse, and he can do damage against the Abyss dungeon bosses. He's suddenly a staple in all beginner teams for Giant's Abyss. And he's easier to fuse than ever. Back in the day, fusion used to take way longer, and now it's a breeze thanks to a bunch of system changes that happened back in like June-ish of 2023. So if you haven't built one yet, I would prioritize that right away, and you'll find that he'll be helpful in the beginning of the game and all the way into PvP down the line. Number 8 is not accounting for the additional speed given to you by your summoner skills that you've been upgrading as you level up your account. This is a totally understandable oversight to make as you're going through the game. And you probably won't even encounter this until you start trying to speed tune a dragon's team. Right around the time when you're trying to rune up a Verd to make him go last on the team, but not necessarily be super slow, that's when you're going to encounter these summoner skills. So if you can't quite figure out why a monster is moving ahead of another one, even though they're 1 or 2 speed apart, double check this. And you can do so by tapping pause once you're in a dungeon and going to the battle effect and then battlefield effect submenus. In there, you'll see that your attack speed is passively buffed by the summoner skills that you've been building in the background. So in addition to any bonuses you get from, say, Verd's leader skill, you'll want to take this into account as well when building your monsters. Number 7 is not joining a guild, meaning that you should, in fact, join a guild ASAP. It's a mistake. These are phrased from the position of them being mistakes. Not only will joining a guild net you more passive energy for checking in and also have a whole repository of people to play the game with, you'll also get access to the guild shop, and the guild shop has a lot of great rewards in it. In fact, it's the only way that you can get the Ifrits, not counting El Sharion. He's in a different shop. And Veramos, but we already covered where he is. There are 3 Ifrits in here. I don't know why is it so hard for me to just say there are 3 Ifrits in the guild shop? And sort of a sub point to this, number 6 is do your rival battles and any guild content that you can. Playing guild content is objectively better than not playing guild content. The more guild points you can accumulate, the better. And while you're in that shop that I mentioned earlier, you should also make sure that you're picking up your 5-star Rainbow Mon every week. Number 5. Using your Devilmons on non-nat 5s. I am guilty of this too. I fully Devilmon my Lucian. I understand that that's a mistake. I've made peace with it and I've moved on. We are not our mistakes. All we can do is learn from them and become— All right, I get it! I also fully Devilmon a Hua. I don't like talking about that one. That one just makes me sad. But I mean, it's not like I don't use Hua. She's in my raids team. Devilmon are one of the material monsters that carry the suffix mon, and what they do is they can substitute members of a monster family at the power-up circle. Because normally, if you had, say, a Leica that you wanted to skill up, you'd have to feed them other Dragon Knights. And that's just not feasible, nor is it sustainable or logical. So instead, you can use Devilmon. Number 4 is not playing RTA. I'm a huge proponent for people playing RTA as soon as humanly possible. I've met a ton of people who are maybe intimidated by the idea of RTA or don't really want to go in there just to lose, but I want to re-emphasize the importance of losing.
Le who? The her.
It's important to get out there and experience monster interactions, understand how your monsters work together, and even play with the support monsters so that way you can experience monsters that aren't necessarily in your collection. Plus, losing and understanding what went wrong is sometimes more valuable than just winning and stomping. Number 3, leaving your dimension hole energy at cap. That is such a waste. That's a bunch of dimension hole energy that is not recharging in the background. So if you've second awakened everything that you want to second awaken, it might be worth diving into the rune dungeons. And would you look at that? We just released a guide for every rune dungeon in the game currently, as of like June 2024. The dimension hole is the only place where you can get ancient runes, grinds, and gems. So if you're not using that energy, get out there and burn through it. Number 2 is not crafting your reapps. They're free, so make sure to get them every week, along with the ancient reappraisal stones. It might feel like you're swimming in them right now, but there's gonna come a day where you are out of reappraisal stones and you desperately need them. I am experiencing one of those days. To briefly explain what they are, reappraisal stones allow you to re-roll the substats of a rune. Once you use a reapp, it's gonna completely generate new substats for you, along with new rolls. So if you're not happy with the substats on a violent rune, you can use a reapp to get some new substats. And look at that, you've basically made a new rune without farming. Give Vert a break. Let the poor man rest.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too
bad! And number 1 is just misunderstanding runes in general. Runes are by far the most important thing in Summoner's War, and they're also the most confusing. So I don't blame you for not having a complete grasp on these things right from the get. And if you find that you're struggling with runes or anything relating to them, you can watch our Beginner's Guide to Runes video, as well as the Beginner's Guide to Artifacts that are both on the channel right now. There we go, there are 10 mistakes that new players make. If you guys have any known mistakes that I didn't cover on this list, leave them in a comment down below. See y'all next time, bye-bye.